One of the things I pride myself on is my mobility. I'm almost 50 years old, and I can pretty much athletically do everything that I did in my late 20s, 30s. At least once. What's the song say? I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. There's never a truer statement. But, unfortunately, it takes me a minute to get into that. So, this is the routine that I do almost every time I put a bar on my back. I get on the ground and I get limber. And a lot of it starts out with body squats, and I got to ease into it. Those first few reps, they're pretty painful. When I'm getting down on the bottom, it hurts my back, it hurts my hamstrings, it hurts my knees, my ankles. I sound like a bag of chips being stepped on. And once I get down in there, it's really hard for me to get back up again. But once I get a couple reps in and I start jumping around a little bit, I don't have any problems. One of the things I like to do is I like to really, really work through the full range of motion on the hips, pushing that posterior chain and extending all the way through, almost hyperextending. Later on in this video, I use a machine to do sissy squats, just a little piece of equipment you put on the floor and it pins your feet so you can bend back into it. But you can see right here, you don't need a machine to do that. You can do them leaning up against something. You know, really all you're doing is you're putting all of your weight on your knees and you're almost touching your knees to the ground, trying to flex your ankles as far through as you can. And then you're pushing all that weight straight up, so it forces the quads and the knees to do all the work. So you can do it with a barbell. And as you can see, I kind of work through different ranges of motion, and I really try to push my hips through and just really hyperextend all of that. So I have a really bad sway back, which is one of the reasons that's a contributing factor to why my gut kind of hangs out, because if I stand with bad posture, I have a really bad interior pelvic tilt, and it kind of sticks my stomach out. So if I remember to stand up straight and kind of push my hips through like I'm humping the world, that almost goes away completely, and I have to constantly remind myself to do that. Well, part of my stretching routine is working that, pushing that all the way through and hyperextending that and just loosening all that up. And I tell you what, it feels great. This is a little routine that anybody can do. If you're older, you have mobility issues, take 5-10 minutes and really just stretch everything out, get into those positions. It makes a world of difference, and it feels great. Even if this is all you did for your workout, was this body weight routine that I'm doing, that would be enough. Here you can really see from the side view the sissy squats. So as you can see, I'm putting all my weight all over my knees, and I'm kind of easing down into it, but when I come back up again, I want to put all of my weight. I don't want to move that weight back and take tension and weight off of the knees. I want all that weight to be focused directly on that knee joint, and so it works those quads really hard. And I'm going to push those, hyperextend those hips all the way through. And another tradition that I've had ever since the beginning is no matter how heavy I'm going, no matter what I'm doing, I always start out with the barbell. I just put the barbell on my back. Even if I'm deadlifting, benching, it doesn't matter. I always start out with the barbell. Does it make a difference? Do you have to? I don't know. I just, I got in the habit of doing it, and I just feel like, it's one of those, it's a good way to get some dynamic stretching in and get the body moving in the motor pattern that you're going to be using. So to me, it just makes sense, get everything going and then get into it. For a lot of people, if you're just getting back into training or you have mobility issues, this little 15-minute routine, sometimes I can get it done as quickly as 5 minutes, but I'll usually take about 15 minutes to really get limber. That's going to be your workout. If you're getting back into it, you're probably not going to be able to do a whole lot more than this just to start. But I would submit that this is more important than actually putting the weight on your back. I mean, if your goal is to get stronger, bigger legs, and you want to be able to work that full range of motion, but think about it like this. Being able to get ass to grass in a squat is going to improve the quality of your life in immeasurable ways. I mean, just the way we operate. Like, say you're a construction worker, and you're a carpenter. You're a carpenter, and you got your knee pads on, and you're on your knees all day, and you're shooting screws. Your knees are going to be screwed up at the end of the day, and a lot of guys, they have a hard time walking, whereas I can get in the seated squat position and comfortably work from that position. So if I have any ground work, if I'm working on the ground or if I'm working below my waist, I don't have to bend over. I don't have to take a knee. I can just get in a seated squat position and work from there. And at the end of the day, I have no pain whatsoever. So just right there, from a functionality standpoint, doing this is going to improve your life immeasurably. You'd be surprised how much just being able to get on the ground to pick something up can make a big difference, especially if you're somebody that's had knee surgeries or back issues, and you just, it's a hard, you're walking and you drop something and it's like, oh, Lord have mercy, I got to bend over and pick that up. That's a struggle, especially when you're messed up. This will help change that. All right, so now it begs the question, what am I doing? These squats look weird, right? Well, I do this thing, a variation of the split squat, where I'll put 1 foot forward and 1 foot slightly back, and I put 60% of my weight on the front foot, 40 on the back. And essentially what that does is it gives me all the benefits of a split squat without the hazard part of it, because it's a very complicated, it's a high barrier to entry for beginners. So you gotta put one leg up on a bench or something and then try to balance a barbell on your back while you're going ass to grass, or trying to touch your knee to the ground so you can get full range of motion. Well, what this allows me to do is I can do full range of motion, and I have that stability. Now, working with Prophet Fear, collaborating with him a little bit, we talked about the fact that I have scoliosis, which is a curvature of the spine, which is kind of one of the reasons why my gut sticks out a little bit. If I'm not standing with good posture, I've got a really bad anterior pelvic tilt, which is like sway back, and I kind of stand and my gut sticks out, so I got to really remember to stand up straight and have good posture. So what he had me do is bring my feet closer together and kind of pigeon toe them a little bit, and that kind of caters more to my specific back issues. I had that really bad injury where I've got a big 8-inch scar across my L5, which is a lower kind of lumbar region there above the spine. My back's a mess, and the way I fixed it was physical therapy, and they had me start doing weightlifting, squats, deadlifts, and bench press, literally. And that's how I got into powerlifting, was physical therapy. That is literally how I got into the sport of powerlifting. Now, I, of course, took it as far as it could go. I think if you went to a physical therapist, they just want you to get under a barbell and start squatting, and that's really my goal, is to get as many people under a barbell as possible, because it really changed my life, and it could definitely change yours, especially if you're somebody that's maybe starting to walk again, maybe you're having issues and you're not very mobile. Well, if we could start, getting you under the barbell and start getting that range of motion going and start doing all these little exercises, you'll be surprised how much of that you'll get back. It will change your life for sure. My highest squat competition total was 600.8 pounds. That's the most I've ever squat in competition. The most I've ever squat in my garage is 650 pounds, and that was, a month or two ago. I was regularly hitting 630. Depth was always a little bit of a question. So the point is I'm pretty strong. I have a really good squat for a 49-year-old that weighs under 220 pounds. I have 405 pounds on my back here, and it was a struggle. It gave me every bit of hell that I could handle. And that's another reason, for this last set, I kind of spread my feet apart a little bit, because that gives me the ability to push a little more weight. Now, how much of the advantages you're getting from having your feet close together do you lose by spreading them apart and putting more weight on your back? Well, I don't know. I'm one of those old school guys that believes that if you want to go heavy, you have to go heavy. The people I'm collaborating with, Prophet Fear, I've been talking to Cephas, a couple other lifters, they're saying the general consensus is you don't need to max out every week. So really what my goal is with this training that I'm doing is I'm retooling my squat. I have absolutely had it with getting called on depth in competition. I've never bombed out of a meet. I've always gotten a squat in, but man, I have left so much on the platform because I didn't hit depth and I got red lighted. I mean, my total would be so much higher if I wouldn't have bombed those lifts, and it's always right there. I'm either tilted too far forward and it brings my hips up above the crease, or there's something mechanically wrong. So, talking to these guys, I said, I'm done with it. I am going to retool my squat. So everything is going to be focused on full range and getting well below that mark so that I never get called on depth again. And that's really the reason why I'm doing all this. And by doing these split squats, I'm focusing on the built-in imbalances that I have, and really what there's carryover to you guys. What we want to discover is, what are your imbalances? Where do you have injuries? Where is one part of your body weaker than the other? And then what you can do is work on that individually and bring that up together so that your ultimate goal, which would be a platform lift, everything's in synchronization and you get the best lift that you can get. So sometimes you got to take 2 steps back. You know, I've been going hard and heavy for months now, and my goal was I was never going to get under a squat bar unless I had a minimum of 545 pounds on the bar. Well, I'm going to still be doing that, but I really need to work on the mechanics. And it's like, you can't have both. You can't be at the top edge of what your body can push and still expect to work form and correct mechanical issues. Sometimes you got to just swallow the pride, drop the weight, start from scratch. And that's essentially what we're doing here. As always, if you guys find any of this to be entertaining or useful or you enjoy it, throw me a subscription, throw me a like, do all that stuff. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook. I'm always looking to collaborate, so if you have anything that you'd like to share with me, if you feel like you have any suggestions and you could be helpful in any way, absolutely hit me up. If you think I can help you in any way, again, hit me up, man. I'm here for you. You guys have been here for me. We work together. I dig it. Peace.